trouble swallowing or sleepiness may occur.
Could a boost help you build on your progress?
Ask your doctor about adding Rexulti.
My daughter needs her father. Tell me what happened to Roman.
You are putting baby Chloe in danger.
Don't say my kids' names.
I'm trying to warn you.
So, Joy's Behind is on the Behind the Table podcast today. We want you all to have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view. And do not despair, because we are all in this together, and we'll get through it. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
Some tense moments at a local school this morning. Good afternoon, I'm Susan Farley. A federal appeal court has ruled against the U.S. Department of Urban and Housing Development over housing assistance programs, and the Blue Hill Fire Department is looking to expand its quarters. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more on these and other stories coming up. First, let's check in with meteorologist Jeff Weller. Jeff?
All right, Susan, thank you. Okay, low temperatures this morning hanging out pretty much right near freezing across the region, thus the freezing rain, sleet, and snow across the area. That is beginning to move out of the region now. After we had high temperatures yesterday, pretty much hanging out mid-40s here in Bangor, 41 Millinocket. We'll take it, but again, today, likely high temperatures back up, mid-40s or so across the region. And tomorrow, there could be a 50-degree high temperature back in the forecast for us then. Very active radar today in this morning hours as well. The combination of some freezing rain, some sleet, some snow, some light snow, and some rain in here too. This is all getting out of here slowly. It may take all day to do so. So again, with temperatures getting above freezing now, we'll likely have less freezing drizzle and more just drizzle and light rain out there, as it is getting better on the roads across the region right now. All right, the winds out there currently basically out of the north around 10 to 15 miles per hour. It's going to pick up tonight and throughout the day tomorrow. We could see wind gusts pretty much all weekend long, around 20 to 30 miles per hour, probably into Monday as well. So it's creating some waves out there. We have waves around 5 to 6 feet directly on shore. These will likely build tomorrow and the next day too. All right, so Futurecast shows the cloud cover out there now and the rain showers out there as well. This will all fall apart tonight, but tomorrow, a quiet day, but then increasing clouds later on tomorrow night. Look what happens on Sunday. By the way, Easter Sunday, a combination of snow, freezing rain, and rain once again, and that rain could be locally heavy on Easter. Susan?
Thank you, Jeff. First this noon, some scary moments at Mount Desert Island High School this morning. The school went into lockdown during an incident. People on scene tell us there was a police presence, and access to the school by people who were not law enforcement was not allowed. The Hancock County Sheriff's Office says at this time there is no threat to the public, as reported incidents appears to be a hoax. They ask that you please avoid that area to allow law enforcement the space they need to resolve the incident. We'll keep you updated as more information becomes available. The Bangor Mall may soon have new owners. A total re-imaging. A group of local investors is looking to redevelop the property with plans that could reshape the site for years to come. Our Alex Schley tells us what could be in store for this icon of the Queen City.
A group of local investors operating as Bangor Properties and Residents LLC says it's under contract to purchase the mall. Spokesperson Michael Cole says they expect to close on the sale by mid-June.
It's going to take a year in architecture and engineering, but we should be able to see something as soon as we close. We want things to start to be brighter and better from day one.
The first phase of the project would bring new housing to the site, with condos planned for the former Sears location.
It's going to be luxury living, but we're going to price them as best as we can.
Cole says proceeds from those condos would then be reinvested into redeveloping the mall's retail space.
What our intention is to turn a lot of the stores around backwards, where they front on the outside, and it'll have more of an outlet mall feel. We really want to remove the majority of the parking lot and put up parking garages, have green space and walking space, and we're really gonna address what it looks like too.
Cole says community needs will be at the center of the project, including the possibility of adding assisted living in everyday services. State Senator Joe Baldacci says he welcomes the potential change in ownership, citing concerns with the current owners.
It's gone from a property that was valuable at $150 million down to about $15 million. And that has significant implications for the city of Bangor, as well as property taxpayers, as well as people who are interested in economic development and jobs.
We have reached out to Namdar for comment, but have not heard back. In Bangor, Alex Lai for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A former University of Maine football player and assistant coach has been arrested in Florida on an assault charge related to an alleged incident here in Maine. According to Brunswick police, 37-year-old Roosevelt Boone was taken into custody at IMG Academy in Florida, which is a well-known prep school for athletes. Brunswick police say the arrest for gross assault stems from a, quote, extensive investigation into an alleged incident in 2024. According to UMaine's records, Boone was a running back on the football team from 2007 to 2011 and was later hired as an assistant coach. His LinkedIn profile says he's also held positions at Bowdoin College, Colby College, and Rutgers University. Boone is currently being held in Florida as a fugitive from justice. Brunswick police say if you have any information related to Mr. Boone, you can call them at 207-721-4312. That contact information is also on our website. 2 people are facing drug charges following a bust in Greenbush. The Penobscot County Sheriff's Department raided a home on the main road yesterday following an investigation that's been going on for months. Authorities say they found both fentanyl and cocaine. 62-year-old Monroe Richardson of Connecticut is facing drug trafficking and other charges. Deputies also arrested Star Russell, who was charged with unlawful possession of drugs, falsifying evidence, and other charges. A federal appeals court has ruled against the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development over housing assistance programs. Maine Attorney General Aaron Fry and a multi-state coalition sued HUD last November after the agency abruptly changed its continuum of care program. It is the largest source of federal homelessness assistance. The judge sided with the state, saying HUD's actions could cause irreparable harm and barred HUD from implementing the restrictions. Maine Attorney General Aaron Fry says, quote, when so many can barely afford basic necessities, the cruelty of threatening housing security for vulnerable Mainers to advance a political agenda is appalling. Maine's supplemental budget passed through the legislature's Appropriations Committee Thursday morning. Our Doug Banks has the latest on where the budget stands and some of its key components.
During the early morning hours Thursday, the legislature's Appropriations and Financial Affairs Committee passed Maine's supplemental budget with a vote of 8-4. Highlights of the supplemental budget include $300 direct relief payments to more than 514,000 Mainers, funding for energy assistance, an increase in minimum teachers' salaries while maintaining free community college, $11.4 million in direct property tax relief through the Property Tax Fairness Credit, and through investing in child care subsidies. Clear
the wait list for our child care affordability program.
Buxton Representative Mark Blyer spoke about the pieces of the budget that should have been included.
One thing that we're missing from this budget is that no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. The seniors tax exemption of $6,000 wasn't introduced into this budget. And those are the things that the people of Maine need.
One major component of the budget is establishing a 2% surcharge on those with an annual income of over $1 million.
What about that person that has been working for a company and his stock option is $2 million, and that is his retirement? That money is going to be taxed, and so why would he stay here?
Under current law, it's really inequitable that someone who's making $65,000 is paying the same tax rate as someone who is making $600,000 or $6 million.
The budget was not heard before the House of Representatives on Thursday. According to Senate President Daughtry, the budget must first go through the nonpartisan Office of Fiscal and Policy Review and the Revisor's Office.
After a committee votes, there's the process of physically drafting the bill. So when that is ready, that bill will start in the House, but it's not something that just appears overnight.
At the State House, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The Blue Hill Fire Department is looking to expand its quarters. Tuesday afternoon, an open house was held to show the public exactly why. According to Fire Chief John Chapman, the current firehouse was built in the 1960s for smaller equipment and a smaller crew. Due to high demand from last year's fire season and their need for custom fire trucks to fit the incredibly small building, the department is hoping some funding could help them move locations and ease those growing pains. They've already submitted an application for congressionally directed spending and secured the beginnings of an ideal spot.
There is a warrant article, an article to allow the Select Board and Treasurer to obtain a long-term loan to supplement the money that's already been used to purchase the property to make our application more attractive.
A vote will be held during the Blue Hill Town meeting on Saturday to decide whether or not to move through that loan process. Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, if you're planning to fly, be prepared to pay more in fees. We've got details when we return.
Got old metal and junk cars? Turn that clutter into cash at Daddy and Daughters. We make recycling easy, fast, and fair. From Skowhegan to Dover Foxcroft, from Troy to Lee, you can trust our certified scales and friendly service, offering top prices for junk vehicles in Maine. Whether you drop off or we pick up, Daddy and Daughters covers central and eastern Maine. Come see us at one of our 4 locations and watch your scrap pay off. Daddy and Daughters turn scrap into cash.
Car accidents can be scary. It can feel like the whole world is crashing down around you. Hurt in a car accident, I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
The marathon of life can be challenging. Chores and responsibilities keep us from the things we once loved and the aspirations we set. But it's never too late to find your second wind. With an affordable, fully online program and advisors to help you along the way, you can cross the finish line when it works for you. Finish strong at the University of Maine.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
Next Jeopardy, a champion on an epic streak.
He could join the all-time Jeopardy leaderboard of legends.
But beware of the ambitions of these challengers.
This is crazy.
Only on ABC 7.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Trump and Iranian officials are doubling down on threats as strikes continue in Iran and around the Middle East. ABC's Karen Travers has the latest from the White House.
It appears that a U.S. fighter jet has been shot down by Iran over Iranian territory, and a U.S. search and rescue effort is underway, according to 3 U.S. officials. Iranian state media sharing these images, which we cannot independently verify. Overnight, the president escalating his threats against Iran, saying the U.S. military hasn't even started destroying what's left in Iran, adding bridges next, then electrical power plants. That message coming after he said in his primetime address to the nation, the U.S. military will hit Iran extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong.
In a new interview with Time magazine, the president saying the U.S. blew up 3 Iranian bridges, sharing this video on his social media, smoke billowing into the sky, and continuing to warn Iran to make a deal before it's too late. Iran's Fars news agency saying at least 8 civilians were killed and 95 injured in a U.S.-Israeli attack on a bridge near Tehran. Iran not backing down, the foreign minister there posting, striking civilian structures, including unfinished bridges, will not compel Iranians to surrender. The retaliatory strikes continue, Iranian missiles hitting targets in Tel Aviv and Haifa, according to Iran's Revolutionary Guard. Meanwhile, a major shakeup at the Pentagon, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth forcing out the Army's top officer, Chief of Staff General Randy George. Hegseth has now fired or sidelined more than a dozen admirals or generals. Iran has effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz, but President Trump on social media this morning says with a little more time, we can easily open the strait. He doesn't say who will be involved in that effort and how it would happen, but it comes after the president has said it should be Europe taking the lead in that type of operation. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
United Airlines raises its checked bag fees as fuel prices continue to surge amid the war with Iran. The airline confirmed the price hike Thursday, marking its first bag fee increase in 2 years. Customers flying within the U.S., Mexico, Latin America, and Canada can expect a $10 increase on their first and second checked bags and a $50 increase for the third. That brings United fees to $50, $60, and $200 for checked luggage, respectively. The move comes after JetBlue hiked its checked bag fees earlier this week, citing increasing jet fuel prices caused by the ongoing war with Iran. United did not specify if the bag hikes were caused by rising fuel costs, but company CEO Scott Kirby has previously said this disrupted oil supply markets may strain company revenue. United said the new fees will take effect for flights booked starting today. Travelers can still get a $5 discount if they prepay for their bags online 24 hours before their flight. The crew of Artemis II is NASA's making history around the mission around the moon. Down here on ground, some students in Montana are preparing their own NASA journey, heading to Houston to show off tech they've designed to be used in outer space. Rachel Kindred has more.
A group of students here at the Billings Career Center entered a national competition to design new tech for NASA. Now they're headed to Houston to share their findings with the pros. Inside this classroom, complex ideas are turning into real-world designs, all through NASA's HUNCH program, which stands for High Schools United with NASA to Create Hardware. One team's solution? A robot built to travel across the moon's surface that can flip itself back on its wheels if it falls over.
So how we went about that is first establishing how we needed to make the cage of the robot. So we came up with this design for impact, so when the robot hits the ground, it won't damage any of the electronics. It'll able to stay in one piece, and then it will re-level itself using these arms.
Another group focused on helping the astronauts themselves, designing a space for unloading equipment and working safely.
For that problem, we came up with our garage here. So this would be the airlock. So the astronauts would come through here, drive the rover with the supply pod into the airlock, and then they would be able to go through and go into the rest of the garage.
Projects like these are built through months of testing, redesign, and collaboration.
We had 5 teams competing this year. 2 of the teams made it to Houston. The other 3 teams made it to the semifinalists, which is truly exceptional.
Their work is already standing out on a national level. For these students, the opportunity goes beyond competition. It's a chance to showcase their ideas in front of NASA.
It's great. It's not very often that all of our teams make semifinalists or finalists. It's an exceptional thing to see that it really shows their true dedication to these projects.
The students will head to Houston later this month, where they'll present their work at the Johnson Space Center. In Billings, Rachel Kindred, Nonstop Local.
After the break, a Winterport man found a part of history that he wasn't expecting. We'll be right back.
Spring is here, and so are huge savings on all your favorite brands, including Benjamin Moore paints and Hunter Douglas shades. Color Concepts, 840 Hammond Street, Bangor.
With Maine's largest network of parts, Coastal Auto Parts keeps things moving. If it's got wheels and an engine, we've got the parts to keep it on the road and the drive to help more families in Maine. April is Autism Awareness Month, and Autos for Autism is back. That means you can join your local Napa Auto or Truck Care Center and your Coastal Auto Parts location to help families living with autism right here in Maine. Because serving our community is what keeps us going. Coastal Auto Parts is owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
Falls are the #1 cause of injury to senior citizens. Acorn Stairlifts has the solution. Just don't fall. Sit, relax, ride with an Acorn Stairlift, the world's leader in stairlifts. Don't let limited mobility keep you from going up and down your stairs, even outside. Call Acorn Stairlifts now for a free information kit and no obligation quote. Why risk falling when you can safely ride?
Our Acorn stair lift is definitely more affordable than moving.
The Acorn stair lift has a padded seat and backrest. Safety sensors stop the chair if there are obstacles. The seat swivels and locks so you don't twist your body. And the Acorn stair lift folds away. It even runs during power outages.
I was really surprised at how little it cost.
Call 1-800-732-2971 right now for your free information kit or visit our website today. That's 1-800-732-2971.
Car accidents can be scary. It can feel like the whole world is crashing down around you. You can't work, you've got expensive medical bills, pain and suffering. Absolute chaos. We'll take the stress and frustrations off your shoulders. We've done that for thousands of people, and we're ready to help you too. Hurt in a car accident? I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
Spring is here, and so are huge savings on all your favorite brands, including Benjamin Moore paints and Hunter Douglas shades. Color Concepts, 840 Hammond Street, Bangor.
Here in the test kitchen, we're always looking for shortcuts to help you save time. For example, over the years, we've used cake mix as a way to throw together a batch of hot out of the oven cookies without having to dig out a bunch of pantry staples. We've used dried stuffing mix as a breading on our chicken and fish since it's got the crunch we crave, and it's already seasoned for us. And now today, we're using baby food as a shortcut in a side dish. We combine some melted butter with a few jars of carrot baby food. To that, we add some eggs, lemon juice, vanilla extract, flour, baking powder and baking soda, salt, and a touch of brown sugar. We give that a good mix and pour it into a square baking dish. Then we'll pop it into the oven to bake for about 40 minutes. Using baby food saves us all the work of peeling, cooking, and mashing fresh carrots, so it's a huge time saver. Once the center's set, it's done. Cut it into squares, and you'll have a creamy yet cake-like side dish that goes with just about anything. Want to try the recipe for carrot bake? It's online now, so you can impress your gang with a side dish they'll love. It's proof that baby food isn't just for babies. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where every day we're looking for more shortcuts to help you say, ooh, it's so good.
Sometimes something special is hiding in plain sight, and that was certainly the case for a Winterport man who came across an unexpected historical artifact. Our Callie Warren has the story of Winterport's mystery battle flag.
The fact that we have no idea where it came from is a bit of a mystery.
One of Winterport's greatest secrets is a piece of tattered silk.
The 38 Star Flag became the official United States flag on July 4th, 1877.
Red and white striped, hand-painted, with fringe and 38 faded gold stars.
Winterport's 38 Star Flag was likely produced by the U.S. Bunting Company in Lowell, Massachusetts.
The historical relic went largely unnoticed until Matt Williams came along.
We moved to Winterport just over 4 years ago. One of the things that kind of struck me was we had this flag just sitting in our town office.
Williams came into possession of the flag after an accident.
It fell and the plexiglass was so old that it shattered, leaving much of the flag exposed.
And then he did some research on the relic, finding out each hand-painted star holds over a century of U.S. history from
the American Indian Wars. The 38 Star Flag would have been flown at the surrender of Geronimo, fell at Custer's last stand. This flag could have been with Sitting Bull.
After discussion with preservationists and a lot of research, Williams unveiled some of the secrets the late 1800s flag hides.
But originally, the ones that had those frills were definitely taken into battle. Also, you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner notches that were taken out, and it was common practice for battle units when they came home to cut out souvenir pieces.
The flag has certainly seen its fair share of history. For its next phase of life, Williams plans to let it rest.
Ultimately, we'd like to see some type of fundraising to do it, to tell the story. understanding that this is an American Indian War flag and there's a lot of story to tell. We've got more stories than just this flag to tell.
Eventually, this treasure of a flag will be finding its forever home at the Winterport Historical Association and Museum. In Winterport, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
When we return, Jeff Weller has your 5-day forecast.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Welcome to outdoor living. Welcome to Granville Stone and Hearth. Goodness knows we've been cooped up long enough. Make plans now to enjoy the outside of your home, too. Come to Granville and see, touch, and imagine what you can do in your backyard. Light a path, light a fire, grill a meal, sit a bit. It's all in stock. There's a staycation right outside your door with expert help from Granville, one of the largest outdoor living suppliers in Maine. Granville Stone and Hearth, Main Road, Holden.
Car accidents can be scary. It can feel like the whole world is crashing down around you. You can't work, you've got expensive medical bills, pain and suffering. Absolute chaos. We'll take the stress and frustrations off your shoulders. We've done that for thousands of people, and we're ready to help you too. Hurt in a car accident? I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
Driving is what drives me. The road, it's always felt like home. Out here, I can chase the rush, feel the adrenaline, live the joy of the track. But when the day winds down, it's back to real life, back to the daily drive. That's why I choose AAA Auto Insurance. With AAA on board, I earn discounts for driving responsibly. So I know wherever the road leads, AAA is by my side.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Let's check your full forecast with Jeff Weller. Jeff?
All right, Susan, thank you. Old Town Redemption now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Let's talk weather out there. So low temperatures today, pretty much right near freezing this morning. Thus, the freezing drizzle out there and light rain showers out there as well. This after we had high temperatures yesterday, pretty much near 45. Here in Bangor, 41 for Millinocket, 39 for Greenville. Slightly below average these numbers are. We're going to work on that though. So probably some mid 40s out there again for us today. And we could go for 50 tomorrow afternoon. Okay, a very active radar across the area today, of course. Some snow, some freezing drizzle, and some rain. This will change over to all rain throughout the day today as temperatures get above freezing once again. So again, the travel difficulties likely coming down across our region for today as temperatures are getting warmer across the area now. It may take some time though to melt the ice out of the trees and such as we have a little bit of ice across the region now and likely ending as some flurries or so later on tonight. Okay, back to the west though, there's more. So system 1 is right here. System 2 is over there. This one has eyes on us for Easter Sunday with a combination of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow once again. The wind out there today out of the north currently. It'll switch more out of the east later on this evening. We could have wind gusts near 15 miles per hour. Already creating waves of 5 to 6 feet directly on shore, higher as you go out to sea. Thus, there is a small craft advisory out there, likely through tomorrow afternoon. Walking you through it, so lots of clouds out there and some drizzle, some freezing drizzle, some sleet in the area. This will linger through about sunset or so tonight. Then it gets out of here. Tomorrow's going to be a pretty nice day, but it's going to be short-lived as a shelf life here because increasing clouds on Saturday evening will give way to this, right? A combination of some snow, some freezing rain, and some rain once again, likely changing over to all rain on Easter, and that rain could be locally heavy, especially throughout the afternoon. So snowfall-wise, not a lot of snowfall coming our way anytime soon, maybe an inch or two north of Millinocket, not a big deal. The ice is the bigger concern, and also more rainfall on the way. We do not need the rainfall right now, and we have more rainfall coming for us, not just today, but also throughout the day on Sunday. So the rain showers are going to come to an end out there for today. We have a brief break in the action for tomorrow, followed by a wet Easter with that combination of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow, ending as probably some snow flurries late Easter day.
Thank you, Jeff. Calling all Lego fans, the toy maker is expanding its way into the sports market with its new soccer sets ahead of this year's World Cup. It's a collaboration with 4 of the world's most famous soccer players. Lego lovers can grab their hands on the sets ahead of the competition this summer. The new creations range from $29 to $179. Capybaras play in the Moscow snow. The Moscow Zoo released footage of its capybaras exiting their winter enclosures for the first time this year in order to go out and play in the snow. Zoo officials say it was the first time for the 2 youngest capybaras since they were born last fall. And the Kirk's dik-dik is the world's smallest species of antelope. 2 weeks ago, the Chester Zoo in New England welcomed the birth of one. Zookeepers say Dottie will reach a little over 15 inches in height when she's fully grown. Unfortunately, her father died of old age right before her birth. She will be raised by a surrogate father instead. That's all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thanks for watching. I'm Susan Farley. We'll see you this evening on ABC 7 News at 6. Have a great afternoon.
Five signs that text, email, or call is a scam. Number 1, you weren't expecting it. Number 2, it says there's a prize or a problem. Number 3, they want personal information. Number 4, they pressure you to act quickly. Number 5, they ask you to pay a specific way. There will always be scammers, but you don't have to be their victim. Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Office of the Secretary of State.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
The following is a paid program for NeuroQ, brought to you